Hi, welcome to the Shelly Studio. Today I am playing in my Dilutions journal. I haven't done that for a while and it needs to be filled up. So I am also inspired by the Art Joy of Sharing Facebook group for March. They were doing muted colors, and so I wanted to do, I think they had a challenge, something to do with spring and muted colors. That's as detailed as I've got for you at this hour at night. Anyway, so I am taking spring colors, green and pink for flowers, and muting them down. So they're basically the complementary of each other, so I'm just adding a little pink to the green, and I'll add some white to lighten it too, and then adding some green to the pink to mute it down. So basically the opposite sides of the color wheel is the general idea. And I'm just trying to create like a green background, and I want it to be ombre. Does anybody use the term ombre anymore? It's going to go from dark to light. So I just keep adding white as I go up the page to lighten. Once I had the muted green that I liked. And these are Dina Wakley paints. You saw my pink. It's pretty dang old. And it's going to take a lot of mixing to smooth that out so I can paint with it. But anyway. Yeah, it's been really fun mixing, it's been a while. I've been doing a lot of gel printing and stuff, and just putting the straight colors on the plate, but I did do some muted colors, and it was just fun to mix the colors to see what unique colors you can come up with. And I know there are some artists and some teachers of art that believe you should not use paint straight out of the tube. And I can see why, because you can get unique colors. Of course, it's really, unless you're well practiced in it, it's really hard to come up with that same exact color match if you need to fix something later. But anyway, so yeah, I didn't make you watch me smooth out that pink because it took a while. Took a little work. Adding some water. I did add some white to make it a little bit lighter, and I've added just a little bit of that mixed up green to mute it down a little bit so it's not the straight pink. And yeah, so we're gonna do that. And oh yes, on the challenge, I think it said you had to use a stencil. I should really look up that challenge. I think I might have snapped a copy of it in my photos, so I'll look while we're watching the video. But I'm just making some darker green to stencil over. Again, it's another Dina Wakley stencil, an old one. I don't even remember what it's called. Came with a set of stamps. And doesn't look like it's going to show up, but it shows up. I think it shows up, yeah, well enough. Just going to repeat that on the other side, and then I think I extend it all the way to the top. Well, I did not save that in my pictures, so I'm headed to Facebook to find the exact... I could stop the recording, but what fun would that be? Oh, goodness. If I'm extending it to the top. Okay, so yeah, it was their monthly challenge. Mix muted color by adding complementary color. And they had focal pink and dusty green. So that's why... oh yeah, it says background dusty green, focal pink. So yes, this pink flower that I'm painting, it will be our focal image. Says stencil a background, so that's why I put the stencil in there. Add a spring element, that's going to be the flowers, or the flower. It's only one flower. And then it says use a different medium. I think the different medium I use is stamping. I don't know. I'm a mixed media kind of person, so I know I've got alcohol-based inks. Is that what it is? Anyways, some markers that I use for shading. So that's another element. And then it says pen work. So I did do some pen work, but I didn't like it, so it's mostly covered up. You'll see in the end. So yeah, I had to mix some more green so I could have some leaves for my interesting flower. I couldn't tell you what type of flower that is, but I know it's based on reality, even though I just pulling it out of my head. I just wanted a big pink blossom. Well, it's like multiple blossoms. It's one of those multi-flower cluster things. Decided you couldn't see the different petals, so I'm adding some lighter pink in there. Just added some white to it to just maybe help those show up a little bit. Alright, so here is one of my different mediums, which is ink, right? So we're stamping. And this is also a spring element, right? A butterfly. I felt like something needed to be on the opposite page, so I'm sticking the butterfly on there. Not perfect, but we'll play around with them, see what we can get. Okay, yeah, so it's the Faber-Castell markers. That's also my other medium. And I chose kind of pastel-y colors, and just going over the green background kind of mutes them, right? Plus that ink is not 100% dry on there, so it's blending with it, so that's muting it a little bit. Just adding a little bit of white for highlights. I feel like they need some highlights. And then here's where I go in and try to shade around the blossoms so that you can see them a little bit better. Something must not have been dry there 100%. You should always make sure your paint is dry before you start using markers on it, because that's not good for the markers. That's why you see me drawing over onto this piece of tape that's over on the side of my little table there. Yeah, it always ends up with pen marks because I prime my pens there, I test them out over there, and clean them off over there. Just adding a little white highlights on the flower. I think those are the little stamens. The little white dots are stamens poking out of the flower. Not really happy with my butterfly, but he's staying. Again, just trying to emphasize the flower, trying to get it to show up out of the background a little bit more. Now this is going to jump a little bit, so I drew a circle, put the quote in there, and then did some pen and ink pen work around it. Didn't like it, so I am covering it all with white paint. I leave some of the green sort of vining look around the edge because that's the pen work. And then I do a couple of coats of that white. And then we're going to put the quote back on there, and I'm going to try and write it better so that it looks better. And the quote is, "Despite the forecast, live like it's spring." The day I created this page, it was snowing outside. I mean, our subject was supposed to be spring, and it was like a lot of snow outside. It is officially spring now, right? Because we're past it's the 21st of March. It did rain all day yesterday, so that's a spring thing, right? It was sunny today, so it was really nice, but really, really cold outside. So I am looking forward to spring. And I have these stickers that I've had forever. And luckily I had all the letters for spring. So there it is. I put a little outline around it. And there you have it. Well, I hope you liked that video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And thank you all for watching. Have an awesome day.